Hi, kitty cats.
How many people did he murder?
Yeah, we got friend of the channel. In my dust, sadly. Sorry about it. Amethysta Herrick, gender professor. I don't know if Grief Foundation is here. Put a towel over it or something. I know what you like. Over here in the States, there's a real push. Well, yeah, there's always going to be. But what happens is people like me get like roped in with people that are against any transition. And then that's the only argument we ever hear. The Republican Party, is that true? Is the whole of the Republican Party against transition? Is Donald Trump even against like adult transition? I don't know. And yeah, people like J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, like, she's so right-wing she wouldn't endorse the Conservatives or Reform in the last UK election. Both parties, by the way, which had gender policies she would have been very amenable to. So, I don't know, it's wild. There's been a massive gaslighting campaign for a long time. And I think as long as we keep arguing, yeah, well, we can't stop it for everyone. As long as we keep reverting back to that default, we're just going to continue to sink like a stone. Like, we have to have better arguments, you know what I mean? We have to have better reasons. And the truth is, if we don't have good arguments, which is what I've come to believe, that we don't have good arguments for a lot of the trans stuff, then maybe we're wrong. Like, I don't know. We can continue to grasp at tinier little victories like we do. Or we can just accept that there's some L's to take. Like, I've been saying this for a long time. We should have taken the L on like trans sports, trans kids, stuff like that. I tried to tell people for years. And I don't know. I just get treated the same way. Like, fucking hell. I don't know. I'm glad I have no real desire to like go out or make music or perform at the moment, because I don't think I'd be very welcome anywhere right now. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, there's going to be a time when this is undeniable, and I don't know. Hopefully I'll be feeling generous when people come back to me and they're like, shit, maybe you were right about that. Fucking hell. Was I right about that? Was I right that we shouldn't be transitioning kids? Imagine. Fucking imagine that. Jesus fuck. Anyway, sorry. JK is becoming an interesting act. She has, yeah. True. I mean, with her and like trans people on Twitter or whatever, it becomes a vicious cycle. Men in their 40s threatening J.K. Rowling and proving her points. Yep, true. Anyway, Amethysta. So we got the science of sex and gender explained. This person is either like some kind of trans counselor or some kind of wannabe trans counselor. I think she does like education stuff. She had transgender surgery about 10 minutes ago and now wants everyone else to have it too. That might be a bit much, to be honest, but hey. Soon wokeness won't exist. I think it'll always exist. And it'll probably go back, honestly, to people like me being considered woke. And I'm okay with that. I don't care. I'm a liberal. I'm not right-wing in almost any way. If it goes back to a time where someone like me is considered kind of woke, I don't really mind that, because at least it's in a place where it's sensible and not what it is now. You know? But yeah, let's see. The science of sex and gender explained. I'm always interested in these kind of videos. There's people that wanna legitimize a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, is not legitimizable. But at the same time, I always want to give someone the benefit of the doubt enough to at least hear what they're saying. So, hey, I don't know. Let's see.
Hi, kitty cats. What follows is...
Admittedly, it's never the best start when it's an older person saying, hi, kitty cats. But no, with good faith, let's see. Listen, I've been a bit nicer today, I think. I said I'll be calm today, I promise. I think so far I've been calm. I don't know how long it'll last, but hey, let's see.
This is an excerpt from a live stream I did about how definitions of the words sex and gender derive from observations of nature. Because biology is the study of life, the...
I mean, surely definitions in general are derived from observations, but the things they're defining, like sex is just our term for it, but it's a thing that has existed since long before we had a word for sex. Like, that's how all of this happened. I mean, we're mammals. We evolved from other mammals that evolved from other mammals that, let's keep going backwards. There's two sexes. That's how it is. The female carries the child inside of them. Doesn't matter whether you ended up as a dog or a deer or a cat or a rabbit or a human,
The words apply not just to humanity, but from single-celled organisms to plants, insects, birds, and of course mammals.
Yeah, before we actually get into it, my feeling is that we're going to divert because ultimately what we describe, which I guess is like our socially constructed understanding of a concept, we're still talking about a thing that is not socially constructed. It's something that objectively exists and does what it does. You know what I mean?
Which humans are but a small part. All scientific knowledge follows directly from observation, and when we find data that contradicts our understanding of previous observations, a good scientist is willing to question the theory, not reject data for being inconvenient. So please enjoy this short.
Very interesting when people say like stuff like this. I don't know. I don't want to say that Amethysta herself is guilty of this, but I've watched and heard an awful lot of people that are guilty of that do ignore what's inconvenient. Like detransitioners. We were just talking about detransitioners. How many times have I listened to people like Jammy Dodger? All they have to say is that there's not very many of them. I can't remember who it was. I really wish I could remember who it was. It might have been Alec Gunter, of all people, saying something like, oh, there's about three transitioners and they're all Chloe Cole. Amazing, amazing.
Explanation of how early biologists derived
a natural kind. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm not familiar with that. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. People most in favor of the science and nuance are the most biased and doctrinal imaginable. Is that true? I'm not sure. Okay. Natural kind is an intellectual grouping of categorizing of things that is reflective of the actual world and not just human history. Okay, I think I understand. Fair enough.
Definitions for the concepts sex and gender. Take your Wayback Machine and imagine early biologists. Early biologists needed to classify species. This was their purpose. Biology.
This is how you know which one of us is the good Tran, and I'm about to offend at least a couple of you. She plays Fenders. Nah, it's not about Fenders, it's about Gibsons. I say that, I have a Squire behind me right now. But I'm a Gibson gal.
Is the
Didn't this person cower out of a debate with Ray Alex Williams? I don't actually know, but I have no problem believing that, trust me.
study of life, and biologists observed living things so that they could develop theories about life. And initially, biologists, in looking around, separated nature first into things that.
I love how they present this anything to do with science. One of the main cornerstones of scientific proof is for it to be falsifiable. Yeah, well, if you're willing to cope, Chibson. I don't have any Chibsons. I have an Orville, and I have a Gibson SG, but the SG lives in there because I actually play that occasionally. I hate you so much. I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't really.
That appeared alive and things that appeared not alive. And so they made a definition based on observation.
Listen, we're going off topic. I do apologize. Like, fenders are very straight. You know what I mean? Like, you've got just a thing that's like horizontal to you. Whereas a Gibson, it's kind of angled in a certain way. And it just feels a lot nicer to me. And also, I think their guitars look better. And that's really all that matters. Let's be real. It's all about what they look like. And yeah, if it's a black Les Paul custom, then objectively it is the best looking guitar that there is.
Alive meant observing certain behavioral patterns, such as the ability to metabolize, and the ability to grow, the ability to respond to stimulus from an environment, and conceivably adapt to said stimulus. And then also the ability to reproduce. Now, since reproduction appeared to be a primary characteristic of things that are alive, then they moved on to observe reproduction. And they separated things that could reproduce into two broad categories. There were things that reproduced with only a single parent and things that required at least two parents to reproduce.
Just an EB2D base. Is that a is that like an SG or something else? Hang on. Listen, I'm sorry, we're getting so off topic. I'll be quick, I promise. My base is a Hagstrom something. It's like a ES335 thing. Oh, it's one of these. Oh, it's like mine then. Yeah, my base is like the switch is broken on it and it feedbacks like fuck, but the pickups on it are amazing, so it's fine. And it neck dives as well, but hey.
And they made another definition that single parents, parents that can reproduce with only one parent, species that can reproduce with only one parent, reproduced in an asexual manner, and species that required at least two parents reproduced in a sexual manner. I'm going to move on just to sexual reproduction. Hopefully you're okay with that. Biologists, now that they've observed this, and now that they've defined this, had to ask the question, why does it take at least two
Foundation. I know she's talking about sexual reproduction, but just put a towel over it if you need to, okay?
parents to reproduce? And they observed, ultimately, through observation, they observed that sexual reproduction takes place through what they called gametes. I'm not going to say that much about gametes.
I love it. What they called. I mean, that is the case, right? You've spunked at least once in your life. You probably have kids.
Other than they are packages of something. Today we know it as packages of genetic material, but at the time it was just packages of something that combined in order.
ESP EC1000. I have a Viper somewhere. It was like my main thing that I played for years. It was like 250 quid or something like that. But nowadays, like the neck feels horrible on it. Like I like the kind of wider, like flatter ones.
To create offspring. Biologists recognize that each gamete alone is insufficient to create offspring. There must be a combination of at least two. I'm saying at least two.
Oh, hi, Epic Wade. At least two, nice.
Of at least two. I'm saying at least two. Biologists observed that most species created only two types of packages, two types of gametes. This isn't universal across biology. There are some species that have more than two gametes, but for our purposes,
such as,
I'm going to limit these observations of species that make only two gametes.
I'm going to guess maybe these species you're talking about are not mammals. I'm not sure.
And that's because humans appear in this category. So they made definitions, again, based on observation, to describe the two gametes. There was one that appeared relatively small, and
I'm going to be really disappointed if we get to the point of this and it's just like, well, that's just what we say it is. I really hope. I know I'm too optimistic sometimes, and I feel really strange saying that, trust me. I really hope my time is not being wasted here. Like, no offense.
motile, able to move, and those gametes were defined as sperm. And then there were gametes that appeared relatively large.
Hey, Amethysta, naturally, what gamete did you produce? I'd love to know. Please tell me.
And didn't move. They were stationary. They defined these gametes as ova, ovum in the singular. So they made definitions to describe the organisms that create these two gametes. Organisms that create sperm were defined as male, and organisms that create ova were defined as female. Now that's...
Which, by the way, sex is based, like, sexual categories. The delineation is the gametes. It's about reproduction. That does not mean that anyone who cannot reproduce has no sex.
That's it. There you go. There's the definition of sex. Male and female. The definition of sex.
Yeah, two things. Isn't that, like, called a binary or something? A binary? Sex is binary?
You're going to notice several missing aspects.
Yeah, but that's not good enough for me. Shit.
aspects from this definition. There is no mention of how the gametes work. There's no mention of genetics involved in the definition of sex. There is no mention
How they work.
of how the gametes are produced, which is to say that no recognition of biochemistry is involved in the definition of sex.
Well, is there a need for that? If the fact is that it takes those two things and that's the only way to reproduce, do you need to factor in how things are made? Is that just not another area of science that isn't really relevant to sex? I'm not sure.
There is no mention of how the gametes are delivered in order to be recombined. So there's no mention of anatomy involved.
Obfuscating. Yes, a lot of these people do obfuscate, but I'm pretending to be good faithful ones. What is this binary you speak of? I don't know. I can't recall there being such a thing as a binary.
You may notice, ultimately, there's not even any mention of species whatsoever.
Okay, because you take that shit as read. Like, taking humans as an example, what other species can we reproduce with? What other species can a human being reproduce with that we're aware of? So why is that relevant?
Now, maybe you're going to say, what's the value in this definition?
Oh, I just did.
Because biology is more than abstractions. Very, very true.
Well, yeah, it exists regardless, but it exists that a sperm and an egg makes a new copy of the two parents as like an aggregate. You can observe that in any mammal that I can think of, certainly. I've never heard of a mammal with a third gamete. Maybe there's the odd one that exists. Even if that's the case, where is the third gamete in humans? Sometimes I'm jealous of people that have complete faith in politicians. I wish I could have that faith. I relate to that hardcore. Jesus.
And that's what biologists recognize. They recognize this theory of reproduction.
So what are we doing? This is incomplete somehow, so therefore it's not binary?
Is insufficient. So biologists, after creating all of these definitions, sought to apply them to all living species.
Yeah, for me, I never trust any politicians, but Trump is just different somehow. I don't know. Listen, I won't make fun of Trump anymore. I know my audience probably skews towards Trump, even if I'm not really that way inclined myself. It's fine. Please don't leave me.
Can all organisms be assigned a designation of sex? Can all organisms be classified just into male and female? And
Can all organisms be classified as male and female? Well, no, obviously not. Like, things that like reproduce by like osmosis or whatever. Is there a male and a female? I don't know if there is. I'm not a fucking biologist myself, so like you have to bear with me on that, you know what I mean?
Observation of individuals within a species, they found there were species that correspond perfectly to it. Yeah, no problem.
Is humans one of them?
They also found species in which all individuals can create both gametes. Plants fall into
Plants aren't humans. Plants aren't even mammals. Hi, Skibbity Commenter. I hope you're good. Sorry for removing you from the Discord. I have to be careful.
this category. Many plants fall into this category. They also found species in which individuals...
It's like she thinks that sex has to be a universal thing that applies to everything, otherwise it's not valid as a concept or something. I could be wrong here, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
Organisms can create one gamete early in life and then switch to the other gamete later in life. This is a phenomenon.
I don't know when it became called to trust the government, never in life. I feel that as well. Jesus Christ.
Called sequential hermaphrodism. They found species, humans are one of them, unable to create any gametes at birth.
Some humans can't create either gamete. Listen, if you want to create like a null category for people that can't reproduce, then fine, but that doesn't make it not a binary.
They must wait until later in life. They have to reach what they called sexual maturity. And biologists also found individuals in all species that failed to produce any gametes whatsoever. They gave those the name sterile. And finally,
Yeah, because they're irrelevant to sex when sex is about reproduction. And like our understanding of it is that, you know, based on things like genetics, someone who cannot reproduce is still one sex or the other. I mean, I'll use myself as an example. I had all my shit cut up, you know what I mean? I'm still male. I was born male. I have XY chromosomes all through my body, as far as I know. Never been told that I have a DSD. I think that you can, in fact, intuit what chromosomes someone probably has. You know what I mean? I don't know.
interestingly enough, they found species in which individuals can create either gamete, but do so based on social pressures. And if you've watched any of my stuff,
Social pressures. I mean, maybe social pressures exist for non-human species, but at this point, where the fuck are we even at?
for a while, you'll notice that I love to use fish. There are a couple of species of fish in the Great Barrier Reef as a demonstration. So biologists were stuck. We're stuck in a place here. What do biologists do in this place? But you'll notice I changed my terminology. I wasn't talking about species. I was talking about individuals within a species. Species may still be classified.
Most of my audience seem to be disenchanted liberals. Hey, maybe. Yeah, I actually feel like I'm like way more woke than like anyone that watches me, which is fine. I don't care. Listen, I just want to be heard. That's mostly what I care about. And I don't really want people to be exactly the same as me. I think that would be incredibly boring. Someone likes Trump, then fucking fair enough. We don't have to be carbon copies of each other. Fucking hell.
Is creating only two gametes. They can be classified as having only two sexes, but in creating only two gametes.
There's something about her face when she says things about like two gametes. Maybe this is a bit schizo. Maybe this is me reading way too much into this, but just look at her face for a sec.
Species may still be classified as creating only two gametes.
Classified as creating only two gametes. There's just something there. The purple Teletubby, Tinky Winky.
They can be classified as having only two sexes, but individuals.
They can be classified. Yeah. Sex is a category that applies to like the broad fucking species. Is not something we look at every single person individually, because that would be nuts.
Within the species, express those characteristics.
I don't know. I'll say one thing. I think these days, to be someone that has whatever political opinions they do, but doesn't really care so much about what other people think and doesn't try and force a certain narrative, I think it kind of becomes a bit of a superpower in a way. And I think a lot of people stunt their growth by being very selective about who gets to be part of their audience or whatever.
Of sex based on other characteristics, based on their individual genetics and biochemistry, their individual situation in life, which could be age, it could be whether or not you had an accident.
Age doesn't change your sex. There has never been a person that has changed sex purely just because they aged up a certain amount. A car accident or something like that does not change your sex.
Individual situation within a social environment. So biologists needed to...
Yeah, that's where gender comes from. Gender is like the social aspects of sex. And I don't know what she's going to do. We're almost at the end of the video and she has not made any point whatsoever, really. Other than maybe it's a little bit more complicated than we think it is, based on nothing. Sorry, let me get that again.
Individual situation within a...
Yeah, we're talking about gender now. So the problem that people tend to have is that they think, well, I can change gendered things about me, therefore I can go up the ladder and change my sex. But it only goes one way. It's sex and then gender. You can't go back upwards. You go down and that's it. That's all there is to it.
Social environment.
Why is I changed into a male once when I was rear-ended? Jeez, I won't inquire more, don't worry.
Biologists needed to take the abstraction of sex as a characteristic of a species and and make it individual. The word sex was clearly insufficient to cover all aspects of biology, and so they defined.
Well, it's not claiming to cover all aspects of biology. Sex refers to reproduction. What gametes did you produce, Amethysta? I can tell you what gametes that I produced naturally. Small gametes. I'm a male. Are you a male too? I think we're both males. I think we might just both be men, in fact. I think we're two men that put on a bit of mascara and grow our hair out and HRT'd our way into having tits. I think that's what happened.
A new word, and that was gender, which is the combination of individual genetics, individual life situation, and individual social environment that result in the expression of the species' sex characteristics.
Yeah, because it's like expression, so it comes from sex. So sex is what it is, and gender is like derived from it. So that does nothing to change the fact that sex is a binary. The disappointment you're seeing in Amethysta's face. Yeah. She knows this is bunk. And maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's actually been brainwashed. But I don't know. I don't really know what any of these singular persons' shit is about. I don't know what the cope is in service of. I know what my cope was in service of. But unless someone is willing to open up in that way to me and be honest with me, I won't ever truly understand. And unfortunately, people not understanding is kind of seemingly intentional.
As you see, both sex and gender are found across nature. Politicians cannot simply redefine terms to.
What? This is at the very end of the video. It feels like we're halfway through. We've got to that bit in the video essay where they change their fucking shit because we all love ContraPoints, I guess. What are you talking about? Are we going to get an example of what you mean?
Suit political expedience. If you struggle explaining these concepts to others, I hope this video serves as a reason.
That sounds interesting, actually. If you struggle explaining this, I don't struggle explaining sex. Sex is reproduction, basically. Gender is social, cultural aspects of sex, how it's expressed, how it's received, etc., etc. Which, by the way, that does in fact include the way you come across to others. Because if it's social, then it has to be like transactional, surely. Otherwise, what the fuck are we talking about? Anyway, I just want to see this one as well, how conservatism is waging war on science. Now, we should have common ground here. I'm not a conservative either, but hey, let's see.
Hi, kitty cats. I've spoken.
Hi, kitty cats. Shall I start doing that? Do I need to make up some like creepy name for you? I mean, it's at least a bit less weird coming from someone my age and someone this age. Let's be real. Anyway, we're saying something about kitty cat. Oh my, I'm sorry. I didn't notice this. She's like stood sideways to maximize this. And you know what? It looks so weird because like, I don't know, I'm decently younger than this person. I think this person is like early 50s, like maybe about 18 years older than me. I am nowhere near this perky. Like, this is not normal. This is weird looking. They shouldn't be that high. Like, fucking hell, I wish I was as high as your fucking tits are right now.
Hi, kitty cats. I've spoken quite a bit recently about how scientific theories must account for all data, not just the data we find convenient. We saw this quite a bit in the last election. Take, for example, Newton's second law of motion. The force, F, applied to an object is directly related to its mass, m, and the acceleration, a, the motion the object experiences. This is the same principle behind gravity. On the surface of the Earth, the acceleration is the gravitational constant, g. It's pretty simple. I'd call.
Here's the cliff notes on this entire channel. Basically what it is here's a concept that exists that I'm giving an okay explanation of. Now watch me throw it off a cliff with myself attached. That's what this channel is.
All this basic,
like intellectually, metaphorically, not actually doing that action.
physics. Conservative rhetoric, however, wants to redefine basic concepts of science, as if gravity works sometimes, but other times objects fly off into space.
I love it. Wait, why would you analogize this? Why would you use an analogy that no conservatives fucking think? I shouldn't. This is just basic. If you can't talk about the thing without analogizing, then maybe you just can't talk about the thing because you don't know anything about the thing. You're not displaying any knowledge of the thing. Funny how they're speaking of gravity when their tits is ignoring. Yeah. Fucking hell. Reasons that I'm never getting shit like boob jobs and shit like that. Number fucking a million at this point. Like, I'm nowhere near this fucking perky. I'm way younger than this person is. It just looks wrong. And I can tell that she sat in the right angle. It's like when someone gets like one tattoo and then like in every Instagram picture, it's like contorted so where you can see the tattoo because they're really proud of it or something. It's a bit insecure, or at least it comes off that way. I can't read her mind, of course.
Arbitrarily. In fact, we can define a new variable, not a constant, clearly, but a new variable that represents this arbitrary nullification of gravity. Let's call it G sub A, the arbitrary nullification of gravity. To conservative rhetoric, the force applied to an object.
There's not much left of the video. What conservative thinks this? I'm sorry, like, what?
Object is more or less related to its mass and the acceleration experienced, but conservatives can change that willy-nilly with their arbitrary understanding of physics.
I hate the term bad faith. Oh, the Reddit tattoo. Yeah, she was wearing long sleeves at the wedding. I wonder why. I hate the term bad faith. This is literal bad faith. This is making up fan fiction, like hate fan fiction about people you don't like, when no one thinks this. What are you actually trying to say, Amethysta? Why not talk about the thing that you're actually trying to say, which clearly has got something to do with gender or sex? Why talk about gravity? Who the fuck? Which liberals and conservatives are having arguments about gravity? I've never heard one myself. Like, maybe there's a few nuts out there that don't agree with gravity or think that it changes randomly for no reason in a way that no one has ever observed. But this is just, you're just lying about people. And do you know what? It's this thing that I notice a lot, where like, if someone talks about a group of people in abstract, like conservatives or transphobes, they can just bullshit because they're not talking about anyone in specific. So because they're not saying a specific name, you can't just look up that person. Like, imagine she thinks that Donald Trump believes this. If she said, this is what Donald Trump thinks, you could look it up. Someone who knows Donald Trump could fucking ask him. And he probably doesn't think this. So instead, they talk about these people in abstract. So you've got conservatives, you've got transphobes. To be honest, plenty of the time on the other side, you've got the way people talk about liberals in abstract. You know, thinking that every liberal, for example, wants open borders and for every single foreign person to flock into their country, which almost no liberals fucking think. Like, yeah, sure, you get some. Or ones that don't take the issues with immigration very seriously, of course. But that's what, this is a toxic mentality, whichever side it comes from. This generalization to avoid actually having to be right or be truthful. It's gross, in my opinion. Oh no, actually no, fuck. She underlined it, so now actually no, she's right. Forget everything I literally just said about this person. You're right. Jesus Christ. I hope she's not too tall, because she's gonna knock someone the fuck out with those. I'm just saying, fucking hell. I always give examples. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like asking for examples, because if someone can talk about something in abstract, they must have observed it in some people. So they must be able to say, well, this person has done it, for example. It's like I might talk in abstract about TRAs, generally seeming to just kind of fuck off detransitioners. Oh, well, there's not very many of them. I can tell you several people off the top of my head, like fucking Jammy Dodger or Alec Gunter, that have said those kind of things, you know? Who the fuck can she point to that thinks any of this gravity shit? She can't. So she's analogizing. And like, I don't know, we've got 11 seconds left to make the point, I guess. But then we've spent no time talking about the actual point because we've been talking about gravity.
Ah, and there it is. Conservative rhetoric, redefining the use of physical force in modern society.
Okay, it's just propaganda. You're just lying about people you don't like. I don't know. In that case, why should I feel bad for you if someone makes out that you must be a pedophile because you're trans? I don't think that myself. But you don't seem to have any qualms about making things up about what other people believe. So why shouldn't people just then make up what you believe? That you think that children should transition because you want to live vicariously through them. You know what I mean? Or maybe, I don't know, you want children to transition because you think they'll be sexy and you like that. That's your thing. I don't know. You're so happy to lie about other people that it's like, well, if someone lies about you, to be honest, I don't feel bad. Like, why should I? Why should I care if you're willing to lie about others?
Talk soon. Bye.
Oh my God. Hang on. Sorry. I just need to check something really quickly. And then I probably need to use the bathroom. Have you liked the stream, by the way? You should consider liking the stream. Sorry, we're not going on a Gawk Logic.
Actually,
talking.
to be honest with you.
Which one is this? Oh, Lily Simpson. Holy shit. Sorry, I saw the title. I didn't know if he was covering the Sally Pride drag video, because that video is unironically amazing. Whether it's real or fake, whether it's like sincere or not, in anything she says. I'm starting to think the hair dye seeps into their brain. Yep, same. Anyway, Gawk Logic, friend of the channel, talking about trans shit too. Amazing. It's catching on. It's catching on. You know what I mean? How are we doing? Make sure you like the stream. Make sure you check the links in my description. You can check out some music that I've been making for years and years and years. You can buy it. You can check it out on Spotify if that's what you prefer. Make sure you check out my Streamlabs. You can support the stream in other ways. And you can join my Discord. Oh, every time I leave this room, it's like, fuck me, it's cold. Anyway, I'll stop shivering. I'll stop sounding like I'm shaking in a minute. Postal worker, was that the one? Yeah, I'm still live. Weren't you watching me earlier? I actually hate these like newspaper sites. Every single one. Vegan teacher theme phenotype. Yeah, I mean, hey. Old people who lie and screw people around. Yeah, is it this one? Jaya Cruz.
The worker stabbed several times, killed over a fight in what
I mean, they look trans straight away because they're taller than everyone else, and this ain't a very womanly figure.
appears to have all started over a sandwich at a deli in Harlem.
Yeah, overnight, a bodega worker was arrested and charged with murder. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate went back to that bodega this morning. And Phil, you just spoke to a worker who was there when that deadly incident happened. What did you learn?
Yeah, Shirley.
Yeah, was that what I just saw? Yeah, that's not no female, fucking hell. How am I? I'm very cold, but I'm otherwise good. How are you?
That deli worker is back at work this morning. I spoke with him just a short time ago. He tells me during this argument, at one point he got out from behind the counter just trying to calm down the situation, but his efforts wouldn't be enough. As we're told, this was an argument over a deli sandwich and who had ordered it first. Well, this morning, Jaya Cruz, the 24-year-old, is now charged with murder, and that's as police say that she is the person who allegedly had stabbed this postal worker, Ray Hodges, to his death. Let's get straight to some video right now.
I mean, assuming this person is trans, one thing's for sure is that they don't say this anymore. IKEA, have I been bad? I probably have. That's fine. Was I mean to someone that you like on Twitter? I didn't sing Wonderwall. Oh, okay, fair enough. I can play Wonderwall. I'm never in a rush to cover that song, if I'm honest, because I don't like it very much. Hope you're good.
Our cameras were rolling as we saw the 24-year-old. She was walked out of the 28th precinct. Now, she didn't utter.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, by the way. Not much in the way of curves. You know, this guy is like half a foot shorter.
A word as she was bombarded with questions from reporters. Now, this just hours after the deadly incident here on Lenox Avenue around 2:30 yesterday. Now, Hodges was a Bronx man. He was stabbed multiple times inside of the deli from his torso, arms, back, and neck. Now, police did recover a knife.
A frenzied attack. Rage. You know what I mean? Should read Redux. I have read Redux a whole bunch of times. Like, originally when I read it, when I was at least slightly more woke than I am now. Oh, he's this phobic, fucking hell. Like, I read it and my overall takeaways were kind of like clearly what they're talking about is real shit that we should be having a problem with. But at the same time, like, reading through something like Redux, the hips in the back, yeah, it doesn't look right to me. But the thing is, they don't say anymore, do they? Fuck, where is my train of thought going? Where is it going? I can't remember. Yeah, frenzied as fuck, male rage. Yeah, Redux. Yeah, I mean, I felt at the time, like, it's the kind of thing, if you read through, you'll probably end up with quite a skewed idea of what trans people are like. Which is probably true, to be fair. I still believe that. But the things that they're talking about, like, is real, and we can pretend they're not, but I don't know, man. What are we supposed to do? I'm not down with lying, so.
Here on the scene, now the 36-year-old's final breaths will be taken on the job as doctors at a local hospital couldn't save his life. Now, I spoke with the deli worker who didn't want to show his face and says the last thing on his mind was for this deli.
Murders, child sex crimes, and violent sex crimes overall have recently spiked amongst women statistically. Yeah, I wonder why. Oh, was there a bulge? Yeah, but we're supposed to be normalizing the bulge. Haven't you been listening to Dylan Mulvaney? I can't, I'm sorry.
To turn into a crime scene.
The male guy, he was waiting over there. He's counting his money to see who's gonna, how much he has. So he ordered. The lady, she came. She go this way. She put her stuff over there next to the coffee machine, and she come in front of him and to order. The male,
how traumatized this person must be, like, fucking hell.
the male guy, he say, "Oh, I'm trying to order my sandwich," so they start arguing. Went outside, they separate them, and when I see the knife, and she come to him, so I have to leave.
And Hodges becomes the fourth homicide for just the first 2 days of the year. We're live in.
Jeez. I don't know if we're going to get much more information at the moment. It might have to be something I look back into. But yeah, I see what you mean. Absolutely. Pretty fucked up. It's crazy, like, the kind of shit that people do this over, you know what I mean? Like, fucking sandwich. Who was first in line to order? Like, holy shit. It looks like there aren't many great matches. Google. Do I believe you? Do I believe you? I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do. I'm not sure if I believe you, Google, that there aren't great matches for my set. Let me just see if they've mentioned it. Maybe you're... Fucking hell, what's going on here? This is just the first thing that appeared. Fuck me. I don't see any mention. Who is this person? They look familiar. If anyone wants to be referred to as a man or woman, that's fine. It doesn't mean you are one. Yeah, and it means that you don't have the right to be called one. It doesn't mean that anyone that doesn't call you one is automatically, you know, bigoted. Yeah, I don't know. I get depressed reading this kind of shit. I'm gonna be honest.